Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Goshen Prepping. I'm Eric, heading through the beautiful town and metropolis of Clare, Michigan, where we live. And I want to go through this video. This video very well could be the most enlightening video you've ever watched. And hopefully, if you really understand the concept I'm going to be talking about in this, literally could be absolutely life-changing for you. And I hope it is, because it's the life-changing things we need as preppers that's going to make us survive whatever may come. Okay, with that, there's two types of preppers. The first kind of prepper, unfortunately, and I really even hate to think that people are like this, are the ones who just stockpile rice and beans, throw them in the basement. Hopefully nothing bad will happen, and if it is, I've got my rice and beans or corned beef hash or whatever down there to basically get me past. But the second one is the one who prepares, truly prepares. And I know that's kind of cryptic. I will explain that in a minute. But they sound kind of the same, but they're not. They're completely different as far as when it comes to prepping goes. Let's talk about America for a second. Again, here in small town America in the middle of Michigan, things used to be different, obviously. We've all read the history books and such, you know, if you believe all the history books, that is, as far as everything they say. But when it comes to history, obviously a little over 100 years ago, people did things differently than today, for the fact that we literally, our ancestors had to work for every scrap or morsel of food, everything in their home. Life was far more difficult. And when it came to like entertainment or luxuries, they were few and far between. And I think you would agree with this, that they, had more appreciation for those luxuries and such back then than they do today. But modern America, no, everything is luxury, everything's at your fingertips. And the more we actually have it, so everything is practically given to you, well, I'd hate to say it, the more entitled people become. We'll talk more about that in a second. Good morning, Ashley. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, other than battling a cold.
Oh, yeah. It happens. So let's run some errands.
Sounds good.
So drive down the road anywhere in modern America, and this is what you have. You have everything at your fingertips, every restaurant, every food, every grocery store, whatever you want. And this simply just develops complacency. And look around. America has become completely complacent in everything, practically speaking, and now we're paying for it. Okay, among other things, I had to stop over here at my dojo. We have a shelf we brought in to be able to put some stuff on, so we had some time off. We'll bring it over here to the school. But coming here to the school, I want to talk about this whole thing with complacency and how it affects our lives, and we don't even know it. Think about this. I have students come in, and by the way, our school is the most popular, by far, martial arts school this town's ever seen. And right now, it is just exploding. We have a waiting list of students who want to come in. It's incredible. And we're talking about kids, teens, adults, doesn't matter. And they absolutely love it. They love coming here and learning martial arts, and I love teaching. It's just a great symbiotic relationship. Okay, so with that being said, let's say they start. Their first few days are like, where has this been all my life? This is what I've been looking for. And they love coming in, they love feeling good, they love the working out, and all these things are happening with them. And next thing you know, a few months later, a few belts down the road, for example, they'll get up one morning and say, I've got martial arts today, kind of tired. I was up late last night. It's kind of a rainy day. I don't really feel like going in. I know I feel better, I know I enjoy it, but I don't know. And this is what happens with our body. Because a lot of people talk about our soul or our mind go in one direction, but then our actual physical body goes in a different direction. And that very well may be the case. But what we see is this. They'll come in reluctantly, and then they'll work out and learn a new kick, whatever the case may be, a new punch. And afterwards, I've heard this story many, many times. They'll say something like, why did I even fight this? I don't get it. I love it here so much, and I love the way I feel, and I love this is bettering my life. But there's something inside of us that fights this. Back when before I was a black belt, I had the same fight, the same argument. And I was like, I don't want to go today. And then I would go and say, why did I not want to go? I love it here. It's simple. It's complacency. We get complacent. We get complacent watching a TV show. We get complacent just hanging out or playing video games or whatever your pastime is. Our body loves to just sit and rest and not do anything. And then the worst part about it is, maybe you do take that day off. Nothing wrong with that. The next day, it's even more difficult. You're even more complacent. The next week, even more difficult, even more complacent. And it feeds and feeds and feeds. And next thing you know, it doesn't even have to be martial arts. It could be anything physical or working towards something, and you give up. That is why people give up. It's this complacency. And again, when we saw the restaurants and everything else, our whole society is now bred on complacency. Find the best couch, the most comfy couch. Find the best TV remote. Find the best TV. Find the best game system. Find the best online streaming service. Find the best bed. Find everything to make it comfortable for you. And let's really just run with it. And you know what? Next thing you know, I mean, it's horrible to look at it this way, but that's how I look at it. You're dead. That's it. We're done. We're dead. And we simply just live this life of cushiness. There's nothing wrong with cushiness. I'm okay with that. But you must have a way to stop that complacency, and most of your life get out and do something, whatever that something is. Like for me, martial arts. That's my family. I have a whole bunch of things that I absolutely love to do. And I battle this complacency practically every day, and you probably do too. We have to get past this. You know what? Let me show you something real quick. This is one of my black belts. And on this, one of my favorite poems from Dylan Thomas, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at the close of day. Rage against the dying of the light." What a fantastic work of art that poem is. And obviously it goes on further. I challenge you, if you haven't looked at it, look it up and read it even further. But it's talking about old age. It could be talking about complacency, but it's talking about old age. As you're getting older, don't you give up. Don't you sit down and just watch Netflix. Don't you give up on life and social. As humans, we are such social beings. We love to interact with people. Don't give up on the good stuff, because again, that is the whole point of this channel. It's carpe diem. We prep and prepare for the future, for whatever may come, to have a good day, not simply just to survive. Do you know who Andy Grove is? He was a CEO for Intel, and his management style was incredible for the fact that he actually did what's called constructive confrontation. And so many people today don't want to have any confrontation, but he was all about this and said that's actually one of the most important things you can do is have confrontation. He encouraged people to deal with problems and then eventually doing it without even flinching. You know what? Here's a problem, just deal with it. And it's so opposite of what we see with modern culture today. And I'm not necessarily picking on just the kids, but we see it where any type of problem hits and then suddenly people will fall on the floor and cry and cave. And I think, again, that's one of the reasons why our martial arts school is so popular. I'm very caring, a very loving instructor, but I also don't take any garbage either. If you talk back, especially if you talk, oh my gosh, but if you don't follow orders, if you do what you're told, then you will realize there's absolute strict repercussions for your actions. And the students, the first couple times, will kind of, fight against it a little bit, but the parents are like, you go, instructor, you do it. Because I think the parents have almost kind of lost that battle, so they put them in my arena, and I'm not going to give up on that battle. You absolutely have this constructive confrontation. I'm going to confront you, but constructively to be able to better yourself, because the whole point of this is becoming something better than you were when you first started. And literally, you have this continuous change. That's the key. Continuous change mindset with these challenges to grow in something better. Seize the day. That's why we do this. Because he actually has, Andy Grove, that, by the way, has this saying that he put out, that success breeds complacency. Success breeds complacency. Think about that for a second. Over 100 years ago in America, you could be a successful farmer, and I don't think you're going to be too complacent. You could be a successful general store owner, probably not complacent. But in modern America is so successful, it has bred this complacent generation. And it's not just the new generation now. This has been a long time coming, and it's getting more and more and more complacent. And then complacency, so here's a saying, success breeds complacency. Complacency breeds failure. That's the next step, is failure. And he said the only way to get past this, you ready for this? This is the CEO from Intel saying the only way to do this is be paranoid. Only the paranoid survive. It's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. That's what they call us. They call us crazy because as preppers, we know about this complacency. We know that basically hitting this challenge and going to the next step is the key. And only the paranoid survive. How many times have you been called a fearmonger? How many times have you talked about somebody and said, oh yeah, I'm a prepper, and they're like, this guy's really? Come on. That's the way. Those are the only ones who survive with this, by the way, because to be a prepper, here's what it comes down to. The two types of preppers, here it is. The prepper who simply just stockpiles. Doesn't take much to do that, by the way. Run to Walmart, buy rice, buy a can of meat, throw it in your basement. Doesn't take much. But then there's the preppers. The preppers are ones who have to work toward this. It's a lot of work, isn't it? There's no complacency there because you really have to work toward it. And there's a little paranoia, a little fear that goes along the line with that. And here's the problem. Modern America, most people don't want to hear this because they're complacent. They love their restaurants. They love shopping at their fingertips. I don't even have to go to the store anymore. Press a button on my phone and it's delivered to our house. They love that. And when you think about it all, a little bit of fear of, hey, by the way, this economy is not going to stay where it is. Our power grid may go down. All that stuff very well may happen. They don't want to hear that because they're so complacent in their lives. That's why they will not listen to you. Okay, so here's the scary part about this. And listen very carefully, very, very closely. Your neighbors are complacent. Your neighborhood is complacent. In fact, all of our society in modern America is complacent. And the problem comes down to this, that when the economy does crash, or the grid goes down, or any type of major disaster, they'll have no choice. They will not be complacent anymore. And it's simply put, they will become now preppers or survivalists. But guess what? The food chain has now been disrupted. It's too late to get the gear. And so all these complacent people will become uncomplacent, incomplacent. They won't be complacent anymore. And they'll be coming to you, hungry and violent. We mentioned this before, that when we talk about major catastrophic changes in countries, it's hunger that drives these things. And these people will become violent, especially if they have a family, and that's the problem. So you can't be complacent and simply just stockpile rice and beans. You have to be the prepper. You have to prep with protecting yourself, getting into shape, learning how to use weapons, etc. We've talked about this before. Do not be complacent. Do not go gentle in that good night. You need to be prepared for this. For those people, you can't simply just stockpile. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.